Hey, it's Kia from Mama Healer, and in this quick video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to properly store and care for your smudge sticks. So, I see so many excellent blog posts on how to create smudge sticks, but they don't really seem to go into how to care for them in the long run. And I guess the assumption is that, hey, you're going to create this, you're going to let it dry for a couple of weeks, and then you're going to burn it. So, what really is there to know? But in actuality, you can hold on to smudge sticks for at least a year, if not more. And so I really want you to get the best out of your bundles. So I'm going to be sharing a few quick tips and ideas, as well as one pro tip on why you actually might need to add moisture back into your bundle. Okay, so stick around because that's all happening right now. But one thing I actually really love about storing and revisiting smudge bundles is that it's a great way for you to take advantage of seasonal scents and even set intentions with your smudge bundle. So for example, right now it's December. If you have a real not artificial Christmas tree, you can take a couple of the pine branches, dehydrate an orange slice or apple slice, etc., add a cinnamon stick, make it real nice, some eucalyptus, etc. You can actually dry that and revisit it in July. Some people like to do this kind of like Christmas in July type thing, or you could even save it until next Thanksgiving and gift it at Thanksgiving with an intention you set for like why you're thankful in 2021, or etc., etc. But I think it's a really fun thing to do, or you can even use it as like bridesmaid gifts and wedding party favors or birthday favors, etc. So I think it really makes sense to know how to properly take care of it, and then you can explain it as well to the guests at your party, okay? So in this step, I'm assuming that you've already created your bundle and that you've let it dry for 14 to 21 days, maybe even a little bit longer. The drying time is going to be dependent on the climate you live in, the season it is, etc. For example, about a week or two ago, I made a video about what do you need before you begin creating your smudge sticks. And so in the video, I was being a little bit cheeky and I was like, I really like creating these large magnum size smudge sticks. This was actually a little bit smaller than I normally do. But I went back after I did that. I was like, you know what? For accuracy, let me measure the size of my bundles. And so I found out that on average, a lot of my smudge sticks tend to be like 10 to 11 inches in length by maybe even 2 inches in width. So they're pretty thick. And I wanted to experiment and see like, hey, if I make a smaller bundle, will it really affect the drying time? And so I actually created this little guy right here out of roses and a little bit of sweet pea and cinnamon, and that is 5 inches by a little bit less than 1 inch, like maybe like 5/8 of an inch. And I was actually really surprised that after I went and checked on the bundle a week later, it still seemed to be really moist. But then I realized that, hey, like we're actually going through a cold front. Well, we were going through a cold front last week. And so that really actually did affect the speed of drying. So just be aware of that when you are drying your bundles. In general, you'll be able to use your senses and just see if your bundle, or notice if your bundle is dry. So for example, this one's been drying for a while and I could tell that I have like more wiggle room right now with my string because, as the bundle dry and dehydrates, the string is going to get looser. I can also hear a little bit of ASMR there for you guys. You can hear that these leaves are crispy now. Okay, and this has been drying for probably like about 3 weeks right now at this point. My drying rack, this little this is what I'm calling my drying rack. It's a stick with a rope, guys. I don't know. A stick with ribbon. My little stick with ribbon drying rack is normally in my bedroom. I actually just put it here so y'all can see it a bit better. But I actually really like it in my bedroom because I have my wellness nook in there. And so adding this frame actually created this kind of like more zen, shabby chic vibe in the room. And I'm really, really feeling that. But in general, your smudge sticks can dry in any well-ventilated, sunny space. So originally, before I created this little frame doohickey, I would just take my smudge sticks and tie them with a twist tie to the window on the screen in my windows. And that works just as well. Anyway, I go more into that kind of stuff in the second video in this series if you want to check that out. So here's what you're going to need to store your bundles. You're going to need a pen, kitchen towel, hand towel, a brown paper bag, and also a mason jar. Or maybe I should probably show this size of mason pitcher. The reason I bought this one into the mix was because I wanted to remind you that whatever jar you get, you're going to want to make sure it has that nice wide neck. You do not want to get anything kind of like those pasta sauces, that bottleneck thing. And so even the even though the body of the bottle might be wide enough, you're not gonna be able to get your hands comfortably into the opening of the jars. Yeah, I mean, that seems kind of obvious a little bit, but I know as moms we're doing like 1,000 things, and so I just don't want you to order something from Amazon and then later on be like, why didn't this bitch just mention, like, make sure the neck's wide enough? So that's what that was right there. So besides that, you might want a marker for labeling your bag or your jar. And then as a pro tip, you might actually want a little water bottle to add moisture back to your smudge stick. But I'm going to get into that a little bit later. So right before you untie your bundles, is a really good idea to just jot down the date that you created the bundle on. That way you can just keep track of the smudge bundle, especially if you're planning on keeping them for, you know, several months, etc. And you could also jot down the items you used in the bundle, or if you want to like write down, like I had created one the other day that was really a lot of pinks and roses and pink flowered croton plants and all these things, and I like really was like, oh my god, this would be a really good Valentine's bundle. And so I made a note of that, like Valentine bundle, light the week of Valentine's, set your intention, that kind of thing. And so then when you go and burn your smudge stick, you can then transfer these notes if you want to a more permanent location in a book or a notes app or a Google Doc, etc. So then once you've made your notes, you can just carefully wrap your smudge stick. This is just like a little regular roll type situation, how you would roll a burrito or a joint or whatever. Like, I don't know how else to compare it. It's just rolled a napkin, okay? But this helps to keep the moisture in. It helps, you know, if you have like if it gets too dry and you start to get little like leaves or, you know, things falling off or whatever, it'll keep everything intact and in one place. And then so then once you've wrapped your smudge stick, you can just store them either in your bag or in your jar, and then place your bag or jar in a cool, dry spot such as a cabinet. When it comes to storing your smudge sticks, you're going to want to store bundles with different scents separately. So if you're someone that creates, like, you know, I kind of do a lot of mix and matching with my bundles, but if you're someone that does like all, you know, 100% white sage in this, 100% white sage, 100%, and then you make like one that's like rosemary, etc. If you mix the rosemary one into the bag with all the white sage is going to overpower the rosemary. So really you're going to want to keep scents separate. I tend to use smudge sticks that all kind of have a base of mint and bay leaf, so I do usually stick them together. Even if I have like one has hibiscus and one has cinnamon, etc., I should probably maybe not do that, but meh. You're gonna write what it is in here, you know, bay leaf mix, white sage, etc. Write it on the outside of the bag, fold the top down once you put your items in it, of course, and you are good to go. So now I'm going to share that pro tip with you. One of my really close friends, I can actually smell it through the napkin. It smells so good. One of my really close friends spent some time at a monastery during her travels, you know, like pre-COVID. While she was there, she learned from a monk that the best way to preserve your smudge sticks is actually to add moisture back into your bundles, which is why we had our little water spurts, right? And so I know it might seem kind of like counterintuitive, like didn't we just spend time drying this? But this is for if you're keeping smudge sticks for months and months, and like I said, upwards of a year or even more than that. So what you're going to want to do is just lightly mist your napkin all over, and that way you don't have to even disturb the bundle that's inside of the napkin. And that just really helps to ensure that it doesn't get too crispy and crunchy on you, because you don't want it to fall apart before you actually get a chance to burn it, right? And there you have it. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, be sure to check out all 4 of the videos in this series. And you can also sign up for my free guide, Mama's Blueprint Bundle, where I share even more tips, tricks, and ideas. See you next time.